a girl who at the age of 7 experienced the love of God. She had a religious upbringing from an early age by her family. She went through financial difficulties, and at the age of 18, she entered the convent. She decided to leave the convent and open her own congregation dedicated to divine mercy. And she wrote a diary. I bet after all these hints, you already know who I'm talking about. Saint Faustina Kowalska, born Helena Kowalska, was an important figure in the history of the Catholic Church in the 20th century, known for her visions and revelations about divine mercy. She was born on August 25, 1905, in Głogowicz, a village in Poland, to a poor but deeply religious family. From a young age, Helena was raised in an environment of religious fervor. Her family actively participated in parish life, attending the local church of St. Casimir and receiving the sacraments regularly. This early religious education had a profound impact on Helena, who from an early age demonstrated a deep devotion and love for God. Despite the financial difficulties faced by her family, Helena was raised in a home filled with love and faith. Her parents, Joachim and Mariana Kowalski, instilled in her solid moral values and a deep understanding of the Catholic faith. This solid spiritual foundation would be crucial for the mission she would later undertake as Saint Faustina. Helena's childhood in Głogowicz was characterized by simplicity and hard work. She helped her parents with household chores and farm work, learning from an early age the value of hard work and family solidarity. These experiences shaped her character and her willingness to serve others. However, behind the apparent normalcy of her everyday life, Helena began to have profound spiritual experiences from a young age. At the age of 7, she had her first significant experience of God's love during Holy Mass, a moment that deeply marked her and influenced her future spiritual journey. Thus, from the early years of her life, Helena, who would later be known as Saint Faustina, was prepared for the crucial role she would play in spreading the message of divine mercy to the world. Her simple yet faith-rich childhood served as the foundation for her mission as an apostle of mercy, leaving a lasting legacy in the history of the Catholic Church. Saint Faustina's childhood, born as Helena Kowalska, was marked by relative isolation, living on a farm with her parents, Joachim and Mariana Kowalski. Located in the village of Głogowicz, Poland, the farm offered a simple environment, far from the bustle of cities and roads. In this rural setting, the Kowalski family lived a peaceful life, dedicated to working the land and raising their children. Despite the geographical isolation, the family's spiritual life was vibrant. Joachim and Mariana were devout Catholics and ensured their children were raised in a religious environment. The Church of St. Casimir played a central role in the spiritual life of the Kowalski family. There, they received the sacraments of the Catholic Church and actively participated in parish life. Sundays and feast days were dedicated to attending Holy Mass, where Helena and her siblings were baptized and received First Communion. This connection to parish life and the regular practice of the sacraments were fundamental to Helena's spiritual formation. She grew up learning about the Catholic faith and the importance of religious community. The experience of participating in religious ceremonies and celebrations in the local church helped shape her understanding of religion and her relationship with God. Despite the physical isolation of the farm, Helena and her family were deeply rooted in their faith and the life of the religious community. This isolated yet spiritually rich childhood laid the groundwork for the extraordinary spiritual journey that Helena, now known as Saint Faustina, would later undertake in her life. At the age of 7, Helena Kowalska, later known as Saint Faustina, had a spiritual experience that would profoundly mark her life and shape her path of devotion and service to God. During Holy Mass, in a moment of deep connection with the divine, Helena felt God's love tangibly for the first time. This experience was not just an isolated event but rather a transformative moment that defined her relationship with faith and the divine. During the liturgy of the Mass, Helena had an intimate and powerful experience of God's presence, which flooded her heart with an inexpressible love and a sense of divine closeness. This experience not only awakened in Helena a profound love for God but also solidified her conviction in the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. She felt deeply touched by God's grace and goodness, which led her to seek a life of service and devotion to the Lord. This early experience of intimacy with the divine was only the beginning of Helena's spiritual journey. She would continue to have visions and revelations throughout her life, which would eventually lead her to become one of the foremost messengers of divine mercy in the history of the Catholic Church. As Helena grew up, she faced the challenges of rural life and hard work at home and in baking. However, her desire to serve God continued to grow. At the age of 18, Helena felt an inner calling to religious life and decided to seek entry into a convent. With the help of the local priest, she sought to fulfill her desire to enter religious life and began her journey toward consecrated life. This decision marked the beginning of an extraordinary spiritual journey for Helena, who would later become known as Saint Faustina Kowalska, the Apostle of Mercy. After feeling the call to religious life, Helena faced various obstacles before being able to enter the convent of the Sisters of Our Lady of Mercy in Warsaw. One of these obstacles was the hesitation of the owner of the house where Helena worked, who was reluctant to allow her to pursue her religious vocation. Despite the difficulties, Helena persevered in her pursuit and continued to seek entry into the convent. With the help and guidance of the local priest, she persisted in her goal, demonstrating an unwavering determination to follow her religious vocation. Finally, after overcoming these obstacles, Helena was granted permission to enter the convent of the Sisters of Our Lady of Mercy in Warsaw. This moment marked a crucial point in her spiritual journey, allowing her to follow the call she felt in her heart and embark on a consecrated life dedicated to the service of God and the fulfillment of His will. In the convent of the Sisters of Our Lady of Mercy in Warsaw, Helena, now known as Sister Faustina, stood out for her humility and kindness. Her compassionate attitude and religious devotion earned the respect not only of her superiors but also of her fellow religious. Sister Faustina was recognized for her willingness to serve others and her commitment to living according to the principles of the Christian faith. Her humility was evident in her daily actions, where she sought not only to fulfill her tasks in the convent but also to help others in any way she could. Furthermore, her kindness and compassion were apparent in her interactions with those around her. She showed compassion for the less fortunate and was always ready to offer comfort and support to those in need. Her exemplary life and pious character made her a respected figure within the convent community and beyond. Saint Faustina had visions of Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary, through which she received messages about the importance of divine mercy and the urgent need to spread this message to the world. During these visions, she was instructed by Jesus about the need to trust in God's mercy and the crucial role that each individual plays in spreading this merciful love. In these mystical experiences, Saint Faustina was guided to record the messages she received in a diary, where she documented details of the visions, dialogues with Jesus, and instructions on how to live a life devoted to divine mercy. She described in detail the teachings received, emphasizing the importance of trust in God and forgiveness towards others. The visions and messages received by Saint Faustina emphasized the magnitude of God's mercy, especially in a world marked by sin and suffering. She was entrusted by Jesus to spread devotion to divine mercy and to convey to the world the message that no sin is too great for God's merciful love. These profound spiritual experiences shaped the life and mission of Saint Faustina, inspiring her to dedicate herself entirely to spreading the message of divine mercy and serving others. Her visions and messages continue to resonate among the faithful, emphasizing the importance of trust in God's mercy and compassionate love for others. In October 1936, Saint Faustina left the convent to establish her own congregation, which would be dedicated to divine mercy. This momentous decision was driven by her deep conviction in the importance of the message of divine mercy and her burning desire to share it with the world. However, the path to establishing her own congregation was not easy. Saint Faustina faced a series of challenges and resistances along the way. She encountered opposition from various quarters, including religious leaders and ecclesiastical authorities, who did not always fully understand or support her vision and mission. Despite the difficulties and resistance she faced, Saint Faustina persisted in her mission with determination and unwavering faith. She relied on God's guidance and the strength of her conviction to overcome the obstacles that arose in her path. Throughout this period, Saint Faustina demonstrated extraordinary resilience and unwavering devotion to her cause. She continued to work tirelessly to establish the Congregation of Divine Mercy, facing adversity with courage and faith. Saint Faustina was entrusted by Jesus with a sacred mission, to promote devotion to divine mercy and to institute the Feast of Mercy. This commission was a crucial point in her spiritual and apostolic life, outlining her mission as an apostle of divine mercy. Jesus revealed to Saint Faustina the importance of this devotion and the feast, as means of attaining salvation and peace for humanity. He specifically instructed that the Feast of Mercy should be celebrated on the Sunday after Easter, to remind the world of the immense love and mercy he has for all. Thus, Saint Faustina fervently undertook the task of promoting this devotion and spreading the message of divine mercy. She dedicated her life to this purpose, writing about her spiritual experiences and the messages she received from Jesus in her diary, which would later be known as the Diary of Saint Maria Faustina Kowalska. The institution of the Feast of Mercy on the Sunday after Easter became a central part of devotion to divine mercy, celebrated worldwide by Catholic faithful. This feast is an opportunity to reflect on God's love and mercy, and to renew faith in the redemption He offers to all His children. Thus, Saint Faustina's mission to promote devotion to divine mercy and institute the Feast of Mercy is a lasting legacy that continues to inspire millions of people around the world to seek God's mercy in their lives. Saint Faustina Kowalska passed away on October 5, 1938, in the city of Krakow, Poland, at the age of 33. Despite her premature death, the impact of her life and her message of mercy continued to expand after her passing. Following her death, her writings and her diary, which contained her mystical experiences and the messages she claimed to have received from Jesus, began to be spread. Devotion to divine mercy, which she tirelessly promoted throughout her life, began to gain more and more followers around the world. The growth of this devotion and the spread of her message culminated in a significant event, the canonization of Saint Faustina Kowalska. On April 30, 2000, during the Jubilee year 2000, Pope John Paul II canonized Faustina as Saint Faustina Kowalska, officially recognizing her holiness and the importance of her mission in spreading divine mercy. The canonization of Saint Faustina was a historic moment for the Catholic Church and for devotees of divine mercy around the world. Her sanctity was proclaimed as a living example of God's grace and mercy, and she became a powerful intercessor for those seeking divine mercy in their lives. Since then, Saint Faustina Kowalska has been revered as one of the great saints of the Catholic Church, and her devotion continues to grow, inspiring millions of faithful to trust in God's infinite mercy and to follow the example of her holy life. Here ends another story of love and faith. May the story of Saint Faustina Kowalska be a source of inspiration for you to always persevere in your endeavors, even in the face of obstacles. Leave a comment below sharing which saint's story you would like to see featured on this channel. See you in the next story.